Of course, the big story today, Canada's new trade deal with China. The news came down this morning. Prime Minister Mark Carney saying that up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles will be allowed into the country each year with a tariff of about 6%. For more on how this will impact the average Canadian car buyer, I'm joined by Daniel Breton, President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Initial reaction to 49,000, a small amount. What kind of an impact do you think this will have on the market for EVs in Canada?
I think it will make a difference because right now there's a big issue with affordability when it comes both to new electric and gas cars, actually. When they're talking about providing the very low 6.1% tariff instead of the 106% tariff for cars that could be below $35,000. Considering that there are very few gas vehicles below $35,000 nowadays, I think it will make a difference, and I think it will put pressure on other car makers to come up with affordable cars.
Now, I mean, as long as they're being manufactured in China, they'll probably stay this cheap. But can American and Canadian car companies compete with that? Because we have different laws when it comes to salary and pay and things like that just naturally drive up the cost of a vehicle.
Well, funny you should mention that, because right now I'm in Paris as we speak, and I'm testing electric cars made in Europe below $35,000. So it is possible. It doesn't mean that it will necessarily come from Canada or come from the U.S., but what's happening right now with the U.S. is disturbing, to say the least. I mean, a few days ago, the President of the United States basically said, we don't want any cars made in Canada to be sold in the U.S. So what that means is that he's threatening the Canadian auto industry as a whole. So I think the timing for Prime Minister Carney is perfect, because it means we have to find new partners to work with, whether it's from China, Japan, South Korea, or Europe. We have been very, very codependent with the U.S. for 60 years with the Auto Pact, but now things are changing, and they're changing quickly. So I think that this 49,000 electric cars coming to Canada is a first step in the right direction. What I'm really interested in now is to hear more about the co-enterprises that should be put together between now and the next couple of years, meaning that Chinese companies and Canadian companies would come to Canada and work on developing an EV supply chain, which I think is very important.
Could you see this actually become a Canadian EV manufacturing where we make our own EVs?
Possibly, or at least components of EVs. We're talking about the Arrow project. That could be a possibility. So that's why we have to look at this from a consumer point of view as good news. But it's as you said, it's less than 3% of all light-duty vehicle sales in the country. So this is not going to change things that significantly. But I think that, like many other things, we have to look at this as an opportunity to do better business and to find new partners. Because right now, obviously, the President of the United States is not a reliable partner. I mean, he even said that he didn't care about CUSMA. So what do we do from here? So that's why I applaud Prime Minister Carney's move, because we have to work around the U.S. That's where we are.
All right,
And keep in mind that when we're talking about cars manufactured in China, it doesn't necessarily mean cars manufactured in China by Chinese automakers. These cars could be GM or Toyota or Nissan or Tesla, made in China. I'll give you an example. In Mexico, you can buy a Chevrolet Spark EV, which is made in China, which is sold in Mexico, which we can have access to. So maybe GM will bring these cars to Canada, and these are affordable electric cars.
How did the Chinese EV sales do in Canada before the tariff? And do you think will people want to buy these Chinese EVs? I mean, they're cheap for sure.
That's a great question, because before the 100% tariffs back from September 2024, the electric cars that were sold in Canada were not entry-level electric cars. They were Volvos and Polestars and some Teslas, meaning that they were, you know, $55,000, $65,000, $75,000, $85,000, $100,000 cars. So people need to understand that it's not because it's Chinese that it's necessarily going to be affordable. So the purpose of the announcement was to make sure that we do get those more affordable electric cars from China. And I think that's very important.
All right, we have to wrap it up there, and we'll let you get back to driving through the streets of Paris. It's not a bad place to be testing vehicles. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Daniel Breton is President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada.